Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Kopi Jana Vallabha Girivaradhari Kopi Jana Vallabha Girivaradhari Yashodanandana Braja Jana Ranjana Yashodanandana Braja Jana Ranjana Yamuna Tira Panachari Yamuna Tira Vanachari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Jai Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Jai Vishnupad Paramahamsa Parivrajacharya Ashtadhara Shamad Divine Grace Bhakti Vedanta Swami Prabhupada Ki Jai Jai Vishnupad Paramahamsa Parivrajacharya Ashtadhara Shamad Divine Grace the Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur Prabhupada Ki Jai Anantakoti Vaishnava Ki Jai Namacharya Srila Haridas Thakur Ki Jai Prem Sakaho Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasadi Gauda Bhakti Vrinda Ki Jai Shri Shri Radha Krishna Gopinath Shamakund Radhakund Giri Govardhan Ki Jai Vrindavan Dham Ki Jai Navadvip Dham Ki Jai Ganga Yamuna Mai Ki Jai Tulsi Maharani Ki Jai Bhakti Devi Ki Jai Samaveta Bhakti Vrinda Ki Jai. All glories to the assembled devotees, all glories to the assembled devotees, all glories to the assembled devotees, all glories to Sri Guru and Sri Gauranga. Om Namah Bhagavate Vasudevaya Om Namah Bhagavate Vasudevaya Om Namah Bhagavate Vasudevaya Seventh Canto of the Science of God, Chapter 8, The Lord Slays the King of the Demons, Text 45. Please repeat after me. Shri Siddha Uchahu Yo No Gatim Yoga Siddham Asadur Aharshid Yoga Tapo Balena Nana Tarpam Tam Nakar Vidadara Tasmai Tubhyam Pranataha Smo Pranata. Nrsimha. Shri Siddha Uchu. Yo no gatim yoga siddham asadur. Aharshid yoga tapa balena. Nana darpam tam nakar vidadara. Tasmai tubhyam pranata smo nrsimha. Shri Siddha Uchu. Yo no gatim yoga siddham asadur. Aharshid yoga tapo balena. Nana darpam tam nakar vidadara. Tasmai tubhyam pranata smo nrsimha.
Shri Siddha Uchu. Yo no gatim yoga siddham sadhu. Yo no gatim yoga siddham sadhu. Aharshin yoga tapo balena. Aharshin yoga tapo balena. Nana darpam tam nakar vidadhara. Nana darpam tam nakar vidadhara. Tasmai tubhyam pranataksmo nrsimha. Tasmai tubhyam pranataksmo nrsimha. Shri Siddha Uchu.
Yo no gatim yoga siddham sadhu.
Yo no gatim yoga siddham sadhu.
Aharsit yoga tapo balena.
Aharshid yoga tapo balena.
Nana darpam tam nakar vidadhara.
Nana darpam tam nakar vidadhara. Tasmai tubhyam pranataksmo nrsimha.
Shri Siddha Uchu.
Shri Siddha Uchu.
Yo no gatim yoga siddham sadhu.
Yo no gatim yoga siddham sadhu.
Aharshid yoga tapo balena.
Aharshid yoga tapo balena.
Nana darpam tam nakar vidadhara.
Nana darpam tam nakar vidadhara.
Tasmai tubhyam pranataksmo nrsimha.
Tasmai tubhyam pranataksmo nrsimha.
Shri Siddha Uchu.
Shri Siddha Uchu.
The inhabitants of Siddhaloka said,
The inhabitants of Siddhaloka said,
Yaha, the person who, Naha, our, Gatim, perfection, Yoga Siddham, achieved by mystic yoga, Sadhu, most uncivilized and dishonest, Aharshit, stole away, yoga of mysticism, tapaha, and austerities, balena, by the power, nana darpam, proud due to wealth, opulence and strength, tam, him, nakai, by the nails, vidadara, pierced, tasmai, unto him, tubhyam, unto you, pranataha, bowed down, smaha, we are, nrsimha, O Lord Nrsingadev. Translation and commentary by His Divine Grace, A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada. The inhabitants of Siddhaloka prayed, O Lord Nrsingadev, because we belong to Siddhaloka, we automatically achieve perfection in all 8 kinds of mystic power. Yet Hiranyakashipu was so dishonest that by the strength of his power and austerity, he took away our powers. Thus he became very proud of his mystic strength. Now, because this rogue has been killed by your nails, we offer our respectful obeisances unto you. Purport. On earth there are many yogis who can exhibit some feeble mystic power by manufacturing pieces of gold like magic. But the inhabitants of the planet Siddhaloka are actually extremely powerful in mysticism. They can fly from one planet to another without airplanes. This is called Lagima Siddhi. They can actually become very light and fly in the sky. By a severe type of austerity, however, Hiranyakashipu excelled all the inhabitants of Siddhaloka and created disturbances for them. The residents of Siddhaloka were also beaten by the powers of Hiranyakashipu. Now that Hiranyakashipu had been killed by the Lord, the inhabitants of Siddhaloka also felt relieved. All right, we'll just read text 46. The inhabitants of Vidyadhara Loka prayed, our acquired power to appear and disappear in various ways according to the varieties of meditation was banned by that foolish Hiranyakashipu because of his pride and his superior bodily strength and his ability to conquer others. Now, the Supreme Personality of Godhead has killed him, just as if the demon were an animal. Unto that supreme pastime form of Lord Nrsingadev, we eternally offer our respectful obeisances. 47. The inhabitants of Nagaloka said, the most sinful Hiranyakashipu took away all the jewels on our hoods and all our beautiful wives. Now, since his chest has been pierced by your nails, you are the source of all pleasure to our wives. Thus we together offer our respectful obeisances unto you. Purport. No one is peaceful if his wealth and wife are forcibly taken away. All the inhabitants of Nagaloka, which is situated below the earthly planetary system, were in great anxiety because their wealth had been stolen and their wives kidnapped by Hiranyakashipu. Now Hiranyakashipu having been killed, their wealth and wives returned, and their wives felt satisfied. The inhabitants of various lokas or planets offered their respectful obeisances unto the Lord because they were relieved by the death of Hiranyakashipu. Disturbances similar to those created by Hiranyakashipu are now taking place all over the world because of demoniac governments. As stated in the 12th canto of Srimad Bhagavatam, the men of the governments of Kali-yuga will be no better than rogues and plunderers. Thus the populace will be harassed on one side by scarcity of food and on another by heavy taxation by the government. In other words, the people in most parts of the world in this age are harassed by the ruling principles of Hiranyakashipu. Om Ganatividandasya Gananjana Shavakaya Chakshulan Maditamena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Mukam Karitavachalam Pangam Langai Tegadim Yakribatamaham Vande Shri Gurindiri Taranam Vancha Kapadabishcha Kripa Sindhu Bevacha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Srivasadi Gaura Bhaktivinoda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. Shri Krishna Chaitanya. So welcome to Asha, back from India. Right? How long were you gone for? 2 months. All right. So we are hearing different prayers from different personalities, the Vidyadharas and the Nagas and so many different personalities. are relieved. The common thread behind all of these prayers is that they're relieved that Hiranyakashipu has been killed. They're very happy because he was causing a great disturbance within all of their lives, and yeah, to say the least. And in the purport to text 47, which tomorrow the verse will be 48 for the verse writer, in the purport of text 47, Srila Prabhupada starts to, or he mentions that the populace of the world will be harassed on one side by scarcity of food, and on another by heavy taxation. In other words, the people in most parts of the world in this age are harassed by the ruling principles of Hiranyakashipu. So you have people who are not equal to Hiranyakashipu because he's quite it's a unique person in history to be equal to. Even in our own short history that we know of the world, there hasn't been anyone close to Hiranyakashipu. But in their own way, they try to follow in the footsteps, following the principles of Hiranyakashipu. Means demonic principles exploit others, lord it over others, conquer, destroy godless civilizations. Yeah, to create godless civilizations. So these are the principles of Hiranyakashipu. Now, of course, sometimes we think of these predictions or these statements in Srila Prabhupada's purports as referring to something that will happen in the future. Which, yeah, there are many statements, you could say, that could be seen like that. They could happen in the future, or you could say they progressively become a problem. But much of what Srila Prabhupada's saying in his purports can be seen today, and they also could be seen happening in a progressive way, and happening more so in other parts of the world. Just like the scarcity of food. I mean, if you think about it, certain parts of the world, okay, that's happening more than others. But even just in America, if you think about scarcity of food, because much of what is in the supermarket today or the grocery stores today is, can you really call it food? It's like just really heavily, just like huge aisles full of just junk, really. Bunch of, highly processed. So is it really food? And to get, you could say, real food, or food that has all the proper vitamins and all that good stuff, right? You have to buy organic, and everybody knows that's very expensive. So in this way, there's scarcity of real food. People become unhealthy and just... So taxation, also, people complain about that all the time. Becoming more and more expensive to live. But in the 12th canto, Srila Prabhupada mentions the 12th canto, and in the 12th canto, there are different symptoms of Kali-yuga explained, or brought up. And in chapter 2 of the 12th canto, which is called the Symptoms of Kali-yuga, so some of the symptoms are listed there. And then later on in the Bhumi Gita, it's Mother Earth, she's singing, there's also some predictions there. So I don't think we'll read all of them, although there's not that many. But there are 2 lists. But I think we'll just read some of the first list, which is in chapter 2. All right, so this is verse 1, text 1. Shukadeva Goswami said, "Then, O king, religion, truthfulness, cleanliness, tolerance, mercy, duration of life, physical strength, and memory will all diminish day by day because of the powerful influence of Kali-yuga." Okay, what did I say? What's going to diminish? We'll test everybody's memory here. Just joking. Yeah. In Kali-yuga, wealth alone will be considered the sign of a man's good birth, proper behavior, and fine qualities. And law and justice will be applied only on the basis of one's power. So this is the tendency that people who are considered the very important people in Kali-yuga, the people who have money, very important people. Although their consciousness may not be too much more advanced than their pet dog, but somehow or other they have money. So okay. Whereas previously persons who were knowledgeable, means had spiritual knowledge, and who were detached, renunciation, they were considered the important people in society. It means that people could actually guide people out of suffering and ignorance. 3, men and women will live together merely because of superficial attraction. If you ask people sometimes, why did you marry? They say all types of stuff. And success in business will depend on deceit. Womanliness and manliness will be judged according to one's expertise in sex, and a man will be known as a Brahmin just by wearing a thread. So the thread's very cheap. You could buy it in India. You could buy like a lifetime supply for, I don't know, who knows? Yeah, $5, $10 on. Of course, you got to be careful. Prabhupada would call his disciples sometimes damn cheap bubbas, which means they would be cheated in India. So somebody, for example, someone in India would try to sell them material to build a temple. And then the price that the person would list, the disciples of Srila Prabhupada calculating that in American dollars, wow, it seemed really cheap. But actually they were charging them double, triple, quadruple. So, but they would buy it. And Prabhupada would say, make fun, and he would say, damn cheap bubbas, which means that when they hear the price that the man says, they say, wow, that's damn cheap, and then they buy it immediately. And this way they're spoiling the money. But yeah, you have to be careful. I remember one time I bought some ghee wicks in India for the temple. And then one devotee, I asked him how much I paid, he asked me how much I paid for them. And I forgot how much it was. But in American dollars, it wasn't that much. And this devotee said, wow, what were those ghee wicks made out of gold? You know, they're all laughing about it. Of course, it wasn't that much, but, you know, the guy charged me much more. So you could buy a lifetime supply of Brahmin threads and, you know, wrap them around your body, but and wrap one around your body and keep on changing them every 5 years. It's unclean. You're supposed to change them more regularly than that. But there has to be certain qualities, cleanliness and austerity and truthfulness and all of these. So in Kali-yuga, they'll be known just by wearing a thread. A person's spiritual position will be ascertained merely according to external symbols, and on that same basis, people will change from one spiritual order to the next. A person's propriety will be seriously questioned if he does not earn a good living. And one who is very clever at juggling words will be considered a learned scholar. One devotee, she was recalling how before she became a devotee, she she used to follow this very big spiritual leader. He wrote so many books, like best-selling books, and millions of copies sold. And so anyway, she saw this author, her guru, you could say, at a club there in Hawaii, and she just happened to see him there. And the guy was hanging out with a bunch of friends, completely intoxicated. And that wasn't a big issue in her mind. She was thinking, okay, well, it's part of the spiritual experience sometimes, I guess. You get a little intoxicated, whatever. So that wasn't such a big issue for her. But then she got a little closer, because the guy was just and he was laughing, joking with his friends. And she was wondering, what is he laughing about? So she got a little closer, and the guy was, I can't believe it. And he was laughing. I can't believe it. He said, I wrote complete garbage in these books, and they sold millions. I can't, and all these people are just buying them. I can't. And he was laughing about it. So she was like, "Whoa, what the, like her guru saying he wrote a bunch of nonsense." And so, like here it's saying, juggle words. You're very clever, and then people just buy it. They're considered a scholar. Later, she became a devotee. So it's an interesting experience, though. A person will be judged unholy if he doesn't have money, and hypocrisy will be accepted as virtue. Marriage will be arranged simply by verbal agreement, and a person will think he is fit to appear in public if he has merely taken a bath. A sacred place will be taken to consist of no more than a reservoir of water located at a distance, and beauty will be thought to depend on one's hairstyle. Prabhupada would bring this up, because he came in the hippie days, and specifically there was a tendency, or there was a fashion for men to grow their hair and to style it in a particular way, and so Prabhupada would mention that sometimes and laugh about it. Filling the belly will become the goal of life, and one who is audacious will be accepted as truthful. He who can maintain a family will be regarded as an expert man, and the principles of religion will be observed only for the sake of reputation. Okay, just a few more. As the earth thus becomes crowded with a corrupt population, whoever among any of the social classes shows himself to be the strongest will gain political power. Losing their wives and properties to such avarice and merciless rulers who will behave no better than ordinary thieves, the citizens will flee to the mountains and forests. Harassed by famine and excessive taxes, people resort to eating leaves, roots, flesh, wild honey, fruits, flowers, and seeds. Struck by drought, they will be completely ruined. So then it continues. Now, of course, again, has this become fully manifested? What do you think? To a degree, it's I don't want to say fully manifested. There's quite a few more years in Kali-yuga. But progressively, these things happen. And then Kalki comes, which is described. He appears and takes care of everything. So, if the devotees want to look on their free time at Bhumi Gita, that's chapter 3, the next chapter, there's some more predictions there, which they find interesting. So as Srila Prabhupada would say sometimes, he would actually appreciate at the time you could say hippies of the 60s and 70s. He would appreciate them. Of course, he wanted to be, he was very careful, and he wanted his disciples and followers continuing into the future not to be lumped in with the hippies. He wanted there to be a distinction. He didn't want his movement to be seen as a hippie movement, because it's not. But he appreciated them in many ways, their ability to, you could say, not be so attached to the world in so many different ways. And he commented that, yes, or it's brought up that the hippies, they knew the problems, means, of the world. They had realization in that you could say matter, but they didn't know the solutions or the solution. So many people know the problems. I mean, you don't exactly have to be, right, Sumedha Saha, super intelligent to see the problems. I mean, after all, it says that this Kali-yuga is an ocean of faults. It means they're unlimited, so it's not so easy, it's not so difficult to see the problems. But who has the solution? And Srila Prabhupada would say, well, the Srimad Bhagavatam, the philosophy of Krishna consciousness, has the solution. And of course, this is later stated in Bhumi Gita, Kalir dosha nidera janasti heko mahan guna kirtana eva krishnasya mukta sangha param brijet. So Shukadev Goswami is telling the king, he said, my dear king, although Kali-yuga is an ocean of faults, there is still one good quality about this age. Simply by chanting the Hare Krishna Mahamantra, one can become free from material bondage and be promoted to the transcendental kingdom. So, although these predictions of Kali-yuga are stated within the 12th canto, although we see them progressively manifesting throughout the world, still, devotees, followers of Krishna, followers of Srila Prabhupada, they can, by the process of Bhakti Yoga, they could be transcendental to these things, not affected, which is actually the best, it's the most special, you could say, blessing. And aside from that, devotees should want to give this blessing to others as far as possible. They should want to extend this great mercy to others and help people also become transcendental to Kali-yuga. It's the best gift we could give anyone. So therefore, there's so much stress on this, you could say, trying to bring people to Krishna consciousness this way or that way. And also there's much stress on being Krishna conscious. Could inspire people if we're Krishna conscious. And throughout the Bhagavatam, we see there's so many glorifications of the holy name. You have the 6th canto describing the glories of the holy name with the power of the holy name. Of course, the atheists, they look at this as exaggeration. And devotees have to be careful not to become atheists. Because one of the offenses to the holy name, it says to take to see the glories of the holy name as an exaggeration. This is what atheists, they see it as an exaggeration. So devotees have to be careful in the sense that if we chant properly, trying to avoid the offenses, then we will have a transcendental experience, or we will have some glimpse into the nature of the holy name. In other words, that will help us have faith. But by offensive chanting, then one may start to doubt, oh, what is this chanting? Seems like an exaggeration. So there's a danger there. So yeah, but there are many glorifications throughout the Bhagavatam, all different. Yeah, there's also in the 12th canto here. Actually, in the last verse of the Srimad Bhagavatam, it's a glorification of the holy name. Nama sankirtanam yasya sarva papa pranashanam pranamo dukkha shamanas tam namami harim param. I offer my respectful obeisances unto the Supreme Lord Hari, the congregational chanting of whose holy names destroy all sinful reactions, and the offering of obeisances unto whom reveals all material suffering. Okay, does anybody have any question? Yes.
You mentioned about how in the Kali-yuga it's supposed to be like just full of like wickedness and evil and all this like bad stuff, yeah? And in the golden age of Lord Chaitanya, there's supposed to be like goodness. Is it more of like in the physical, is Kali-yuga with wickedness, and the spiritual aspect of the golden age of Lord Chaitanya? Or is it like we're supposed to be, dancing and singing throughout the world and everyone's at peace and harmony and butterflies and roses and stuff like that, like physically? Or is it like a spiritual aspect?
Well, I mean to say, no. Well, when we talk about the golden age, of course, there is the idea that so many people will be Krishna conscious, so many people will be happy in Krishna consciousness. But when we talk about like in a material sense, I mean, really, like Srila Prabhupada was stressing, okay, establish farm communities, for example. That was one of the things Prabhupada was stressing. But with establishment of farm communities and with, the overall preaching of Krishna consciousness and people becoming devotees and golden age and all that, it means all around happiness. It means all around, peacefulness. Like if you look at, or if you think about whatever, about successful farm communities, it's a beautiful thing. Maybe too beautiful. Maybe you won't want to leave the material world. Of course, if you're Krishna conscious, Krishna's there in the form of the deity and this and that. But so it means like all around goodness will prevail. And of course, it doesn't mean whole scale. There'll be other stuff going on. It's like simultaneous. I think Dravida Prabhu has something.
I have something to say on this point. If you want to say something on this point, I had the good fortune to be in Los Angeles, 1970, when Prabhu was asked this question, and he gave a description. Just like there's a river flowing in one direction. And sometimes you see an eddy or a cross current that's flowing opposite. The majority is going in one way, and a smaller portion is going the other way. So Prabhupada said that the majority, Kali-yuga, marches forward. But where the devotees are, there's a cross current, and that's where the golden age, there's a counter force, current, and that's where the golden age is manifest. And Prabhupada said that Just like you separate whey, you heat milk and you put lemon juice in it, and it separates into whey and paneer. Prabhupada said more and more it'll become separated. That where the devotees are will be like Satya Yuga. And where the karmis are, the materialists are, it will become more and more hellish. And Prabhupada said it's 5,000 years up from the birth of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, and then a 5,000-year plateau. So it's a total of 10,000 years. 5 up, 5 plateau. And after the end of those 10 years, and it's separating materialists and devotees, then Prabhupada said, then all the devotees will go back to Godhead. And then the devotees asked, well, what about those who don't go back to Godhead? The people in general. Prabhupada said, oh, then they can see the fun. It just gets more and more hellish. And then Kali comes and finishes the whole thing off. So you follow? That golden age is, it's a counter current existing in the main trend of Kali-yuga, and it separates more and more between the devotees and the asuras. And ultimately the devotees pull off and the Kali-yuga envelops everything. And when they become so sinful that they can't understand anything, Kali comes and kills them all off. And even now, Prabhupada said, and I forget the sage's name, there's several sages that are living, waiting for the end of Kali-yuga, and they'll start the Satya Yuga all over again. Is that what you were going to say?
Yeah, and we could say one other thing. We could see that practically, happening. I mean, it's becoming more hellish, and where devotees are, that's the principal. Devotees are transcendental. Kali-yuga. Yes, Srivada Prabhu.
Just one comment on the last thing, Maharaj. I remember hearing from, I think it was Gopi Puranadana, maybe it was in the Bhagavatam, that one of those sages who's going to reestablish Satya Yuga at the end of Kali Yuga is Ashvatthama. Believe it or not.
I know, I've heard something like that, but I've never heard it from Prabhupada or read it in his books.
Yeah, I'll research it.
Send me a note. I'll put it out on the GBC conference and we'll get an answer.
Very good. I will send you an
Yeah, I also heard that, but I would like some confirmation as well.
Yeah, he was cautious. Yeah, let's find out.
Yes. Ashvatthama, you want to?
kind of a rogue. I mean, Ashvatthama, who was Ashvatthama? Is that what you want to know?
Yeah.
Ashvatthama was the son of Dronacharya, and when Dronacharya was killed, that's when, near the end of the Mahabharata war, he threw the Brahmastra.
He cut off the heads of the Pandavas' sons?
He cut off the, yeah, right, the boys sleeping.
Yeah, so kind of like
and then he tried to finish off the whole race by killing Parikshit in the womb. You remember that? So that's the Brahmastra, and Krishna counteracted it by going in there, and saving him. So you would hardly think that he would be entrusted with restarting this Satya Yuga.
First,
you have a lot of time to do penance, right?
Living now,
Yeah.
wandering the Himalayas with no shelter.
Oh, okay. So he's getting his comeuppance. Yeah, I heard about him going in the Himalayas. I didn't know he had no shelter though. So we'll nail it down and find out if he's really the one who.
I think there's another one. I think I should require it, but it was Satya something is one of them. We'll find it.
All right. Any other? Okay, Veer Chandra.
Hare Krishna, thank you for the class. You mentioned about many, how to say, you didn't explain, but that Socrates has many different problems, and Srila Prabhupada is known that he said that if people become Krishna conscious, then these problems will be resolved by Krishna. My question is, should we like devotees to, how to say, to help Srila Prabhupada to, how to say, to present this knowledge, this how to exactly this or this problem will be resolved by Krishna consciousness.
Present it to people in
Yeah.
general. Yeah, there's all different types of circles of people. There's academic circles, science circles of scientists, and all different types of people around. So yeah, devotees are meant to enter all of these different circles, and of course, it's a whole. How do you enter? Is one particular person meant to enter a particular circle? There's a lot of details, but the general principles, yes, we're supposed to. All different types of people, we're supposed to try to educate them and share Krishna consciousness. So, I think there was one devotee, he wanted to write a book on how Krishna consciousness could solve all the problems of the world. Forgot, does anyone remember that?
Bhagavatam to write, to take the modern, it may not be the same thing you're thinking
Mm-hmm.
about, but to take, the oil shortage at the time, and he told him to write a book on it.
Yeah.
He did research, but he never wrote it.
In that regard, there's a famous pastime of Prabhupada's where he's on the plane, and he's sometimes you read the news, the Time magazine, and they have an article there about the crime, the crime wave in the 70s. So, maybe the title of the crime wave and what to do. So Prabhupada, I think it was in Chicago, and he met with some representative of the government, and he said, "We have the solution."
I was there. It was a local police lieutenant for the local precinct.
Okay, yeah, Dr. Mosey, Mr. Mosey, or Lieutenant Mosey, and Prabhupada had, "But we have the solution." Crime wave. When do you just give us this building? He saw a building, that was vacant or that was, for sale, and we'll start kirtan, and the kirtan will, everybody will be invited and take prasadam, and in this way, it'll the criminals will become satisfied. They won't want to steal so much, and of course, they never did it. But it came down to the spiritual solution to material problems. That's the problem. There's no real material solution to it. But the Krishna consciousness can solve all these social problems. So Prabhupada was very much aware of that, and that preaching method.
Yeah, we
also the kids on drugs. That was
we say that we have the answers, but then the thing is, do people want to listen? Like Srila Prabhupada one time, he said, there was somebody in India, and then some person came up to him and said, "Oh, Swamiji, only you could lead us, only you could lead us." And then Prabhupada said, "Yes, that's true." But then he said that, but the question is, are you willing to follow? So, yeah. All right, Vijay. Okay, you don't have anything? All right. Once, twice.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay.
Hold on, Mike, because we have people.
Sorry. It's just a little comment. It's like we're not attached to the fruits of our service, right? It's like in spirituality or in Krishna consciousness, we give, we provide, and if they don't like it, it's like
Yeah.
we're not attached to
That's
the
true.
fruits of that.
Yeah,
We're here to
that's
serve
true.
Krishna.
That's true. Yeah, if people, that's Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur, he made similar point at one time that he was making the point that, we shouldn't see ourselves as reformers, as persons, meant to reform the world. So that ultimately we're humble servants of Krishna, and, Krishna works things out. Of course, if somebody wants to take advice, or if somebody wants some assistance or something like that, we may help. And in general, we try to share Krishna consciousness, but ultimately we're not attached in the sense that we're just meant to extend ourselves. And, Yes.
Just a quick addition. Like so many things, they're nuanced. They're simultaneously one and different. So on one hand, we're not attached. We try our best. But also, if you look at the great acharyas, they feel it very, very heavily. These people are suffering, they're missing out. So on one hand, we're detached. On the other hand, we're very attached. We want them to become Krishna conscious. We look out there and we cry. Prabhupada sannyasis are tolerant. Prabhupada sannyasis are meant to tolerate everything. And then Prabhupada said, except for the crying of babies. But the sannyasis meant to be tolerant. But the one thing in the Bhagavatam, Prabhupada says that the sannyasis cannot tolerate. It's a classic Prabhupada line. He says, they cannot tolerate the sound of the living entities being crushed by Maya. You know, we can't, you know. So we're detached and we're very attached simultaneously because we want to see them delivered. It's not like, I gave you, like the Christians. Well, tough luck for you. You're going to burn in hell forever, but hey.
I tried.
Sorry.
Yeah, we're attached to the results for the pleasure of Krishna. Yeah. All right. Kantarat Srimad Bhagavatam ki jai, Srila Prabhupada ki jai.